Hello and welcome to Hak It. I'm Sakshi, the CEO and founder of Foodhak. In each episode of Hak It, we'll be discussing females, founders, and of course food with some of my favorite people in the world. I've brought together some of my fellow founders to talk about their journeys, the challenges, the highs and lows of being a founder. And of course, we end each episode with a little nugget on food as medicine. I'm super excited to share this with you, and I hope you enjoy it. Hello and welcome to Hak It. Today on the hot seat, I have the most lovely, the most talented, and the most calming person, Anita, who's the founder of this amazing Ayurvedic products company called Mauli Rituals. I'm a big fan. I actually can't live without one of her products. I get a lot of shoulder pain, so I love the Calm Balm.
That's what I was going to bring.
And it smells amazing. It's beautiful. I love Ayurveda. My body reacts so nicely to Ayurveda. So I'm so excited to have her on this episode and share everything about her here. So welcome, Anita.
Thank you.
Let's start by sharing your story, your founding story of Mauli, and then let's get deeper into your products.
So you and I were talking outside and you were gracious enough to ask whether it was okay to share it. And I was telling you that actually for the longest time I haven't shared it. And the dichotomy for me initially was, am I sharing this story to win business? And if I am, that didn't sit right with my heart. Could the product stand up without me sharing my story? And now that the product does stand up, and now that I feel very good in my heart about the reason, I'm okay to share it. Finally, it's taken a long time. And the story was that I didn't come from beauty. I'm not really a beauty, I don't get excited by beauty products. Well-being I do, and I always have. It started because I'd lost my daughter to a brain tumor, our daughter to a brain tumor. And like a lot of women, I didn't feel comfortable to sit with the pain. That's the truth. It was much easier to keep going. And we do have to deal with it, but we all deal with it in our own time, in our own way. And for me, it was get busy fundraising. So I set up a site actually while she was still alive, while she was sick, called Millie On and On. And it was 1 million lives enriched and 1 million people doing good things and her life living on and on. She was called Millie. And so we've raised a fair bit of money now. We've done different initiatives like books. We've published books that we sell in schools. They're full of what makes people happy. Anyway, lots of different initiatives. And there came a point when I was doing that, when I realized that I've got to make this sustainable for me. I can't make just doing charitable work sustainable for me. I still have a son and I want him to have a good life. And so my husband said, why don't we launch an Ayurvedic brand, because his father is an Ayurvedic doctor and a brilliant Ayurvedic doctor. And I didn't think too deep into it, if I'm honest. I just thought, fine, that's another thing I can get busy with. Let's do it. We probably did everything completely in the most unconventional way. We didn't have SKUs, for example. Brands that are smart will launch with a category. So they'll start with hair, or they'll do skin, or they'll do whatever. Ours was a bit of hair, a bit of skin, there was no logic to anything we did other than put your heart into it, pour your soul into it, let it heal you. That's really what happened. And then see where it goes. I didn't think about tomorrow. I didn't think how long will this business run, or will it make money, or I just thought I cannot cope with that aching in my heart. And if I channel it into something, then I'll get up tomorrow and all will be well. And that's really why I did it. So not at all conventional.
I know. I can quite relate to it.
Yeah?
I don't come from food.
No.
And I reversed something that I had.
Yes.
An illness that I had with food.
Yes.
And I just felt so strongly towards the matter that people are surrounded with the wrong food and there must be other people who are suffering like me. I was the lucky one because I had a biotech background. I'm capable enough to read clinical research and understand the chemical compositions of the food science behind the food, the chemical compositions of drugs, and where you can replace drugs with, natural foods, and how you can prepare your body to reverse an illness. I had the resources. I had these amazing alternative medicine doctors I was introduced to, and I was working with them on the side. But other people don't have this.
No. Did it become all consuming for you?
No, when you feel so passionate.
Yes.
Honestly, passion is a privilege. Pressure is a privilege.
I agree.
So when we all say to ourselves like, oh, life is so stressful, just, you should pause and think about it.
Yeah,
You have chosen, you have made these choices.
Yeah.
Pressure is a privilege.
Yeah,
We should be grateful that we're all, working so hard towards a passion. You are enjoying what you're doing. So yes, of course, like there are days when it feels all consuming, last couple of weeks, last couple of months have been really busy. But I just remind myself that, pressure is a privilege. You need to be grateful. But I can relate to your personal story because, I had a personal story, right, that made me get into food. And from an outsider, they were like, why out of all the options you had? Because, I had a professional career.
Easy. Yeah.
I had a professional career. I had a track record. I could have picked an industry that I wanted to go in, preferably one that I had, background in, technology, healthcare. Why would you choose food out of all things? It's so challenging. It's highly regulated. It's highly subjective.
Yes.
Tastes, health, all of that. Right? So even when we started, we did things in a very unconventional manner. Smart brands pick categories.
Yes.
We did a bit of everything.
Yes.
So I can actually relate to a lot that you're saying. So tell me more about, using Ayurveda. You mentioned the word heal.
Yeah.
Right? So these Ayurvedic beauty products to heal.
Yeah.
Like, tell the audience more about that.
Well, Mauli definitely has become my medicine because, they say healer, heal thyself, and I think it's true. Same goes with food. The more you're learning, the more you're empowering yourself to feel better with your own medicine, and it's wonderful. So Ayurveda, if you look up the term on Google, it would say the science of life, which just sounds like, what does that mean? And really simply put, they're tools for living a healthy life. And I think we've overcomplicated what that looks like, especially living in an urban city. We there are a lot of things that get in our way that stop us potentially from just being in our center. So Ayurveda is simply, simple thing is how much you sleep, when you sleep, how you breathe in different situations, the yoga postures and exercise that you do, the food that you eat, which is where you come in so strongly, and even the thoughts that you think, because, a lot of people think that they can become overweight by eating. Actually, they can become overweight by storing negative emotions. That is the thing, that you can't process your food properly if you're storing negative emotions. And if you can't process it, you build armor in the body, toxins in the body, so things don't move properly. So I'd say, you could be eating the most expensive organic meal, but if you're not clear here, if you don't sit and appreciate it and mindfully eat it and clear the anger that you're feeling inside or the sadness or frustration, whatever it might be, you're not going to get the most nutrients out of that food. So what Ayurveda is this wonderful connectedness of everything, and everything we do, everything we eat, everything we think, and it's putting it all together because we are a whole. It's like if I chop this finger's going to feel it. Nothing is in isolation. And so I love that. And I think it applies to business as well, how we treat our staff, how we treat our suppliers, how we treat our retailers. This is all part of it. I can't have a healthy business if I am not being honorable with my stakeholders. And that's all of them. And again, I say that with honesty. When I first launched, I was not like that because I had such fear of losing my business. My business was my baby. It was everything I felt for my child was being poured into this, and I'd lost her. And I didn't want to lose this business. It had nothing to do with money, had nothing to do with credibility, all of that out the window. It was, I can't lose this thing that I'm attached to.
Yeah,
So-
you're the one who sets the culture.
Yeah, exactly.
Culture is what builds the people,
Exactly.
which then gets translated into your products.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
then gets to the customer's hands, and the customer feels the love
Yeah.
or doesn't feel the love.
You're absolutely right. And I think that's what Ayurveda is. It's an energy. Everything is energy, and you can feel it. When somebody walks into a room, you can feel how how they make you feel when they walk in.
Absolutely.
And we have not once, not twice, but we routinely get emails saying, I can feel the intention and energy of your product before I use it. And I know that to be true because I do give it love. We all give it love. Of course, the formulations are second to none. I stand by that. But we also have a really good intention. That doesn't mean chanting over it. I think there's a lot of that going on. A lot of peace, love, and brown rice that's kind of hoodwinking people. Doesn't mean that. It means that my whole heart, my whole being wants to create a product that will genuinely help someone. Because if it doesn't, there are other things I can do with my time, and there are other things they can do with their money. And I do believe you have that same intention. I feel it when I eat your snacks. And, the ashwagandha cookies I could eat till Christmas. One must have restraint, but they're so good.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's such a pleasure to hear this.
Yeah.
Because, I used to be an investor in my past life.
Yes.
So my day-to-day job used to be sitting like this and meeting maybe 8 entrepreneurs a day, maybe 6, maybe 5, but whatever.
Yeah.
Pitching, right, that you should invest in my business. And it was very I was a growth stage investor most recently.
Yes.
I used to be an early stage investor before, which was slightly different. But the pitches in the growth stage are very here's the numbers, here's the data, here's our growth story, here's why you should invest because this is the ROI you're going to make on your investment.
Isn't that what you want, though, as an investor?
Yeah, it's part of the job. But I
Yeah.
think that now being on this side of the table as an entrepreneur and having a business that is purpose-led, mission-driven, being born out of a personal story. And I think like attracts like. It's back to energies.
Yes.
And so somehow we met, we connected. And I feel that I have a lot of these amazing women and men in my network now who have purpose-led brands, purpose-led companies. And I just feel that listening to their stories through this podcast and sharing with everybody the challenges, highs, lows, whatever, but it's just such a pleasure to be sitting and listening about another mission-driven business because you're building a business.
How has that changed if you were to talk to an investor now who was sitting at that side, what would you say to them to maybe change their view of just looking at ROI?
I think if I were to become an investor again, ever, even though I'm so addicted to what I'm doing, and I think once you get a little taste of what it's like to be building products from scratch, which we should talk about next, it's hard to go back on the other side where you're giving advice, you're sitting on boards, you're coming up with strategies, you're analyzing. It was amazing as well because you learned so much. Your mind was getting sharpened and it was a, steep learning curve and you learned so much about different products, different markets, different businesses, different entrepreneurs, different KPIs, all of that good stuff. It's like a crash course on, business. If I had to do it all over again, I think I would do it differently.
Would the team around you allow you that privilege to do it differently?
Potentially, because I think, again, it depends. If you're at the top, you set the culture.
Right, okay. Right.
Because now when I interact with founders and I interact with their employees and I interact with their products, I feel that ripple go through, the culture comes across. Yeah. I can tell instantly what's important to you. What kind of a person are you?
Yeah, can you? You've seen enough people, I guess.
I've seen enough people, but also your product, it just comes across. I've made my own mistakes at Foodhak.
Yes.
We've spoken about it, I think, in a couple of episodes here. The negative power of hiring one bad employee.
Oh, my goodness, yes.
And the positive power of hiring one good employee, right?
You are your people, ultimately, right?
Yeah. And so culture is just so important, So if I were doing it all over again as an investor, I set the culture.
Good.
Right?
You'll do it again one day.
I think
you will do it one day.
But this is so much fun.
Yeah.
Building a product from scratch.
I know, it's incredible.
In thin air, there's nothing here. And we built this.
I know.
We've packaged it beautifully. We've had a message. It's lying on a shelf in Selfridges.
Yeah.
The high that gives me.
Yeah. Oh, I love that.
I didn't have it before. And the pleasure it gives me when I see kids buying these products and enjoying them, and they've become a part of their lives. Like those ashwagandha chocolate chip cookies, even the fussiest of my kids' friends in their school, they enjoy it.
What about this, that doctors prescribing these, these fat-reducing pills? It's like a vicious cycle. It's
a vicious
disgusting.
cycle. Yeah, it's a vicious
disgusting.
cycle.
Does that mean you can eat till you're going to fall apart at the seams? But don't worry, because we've now got something to help you.
Look, to be fair, like I don't like taking medicines, because I have seen the benefits of Ayurveda and lifestyle, and frankly, it suits my body.
Yeah.
But then I think there are some cases who are obese.
Oh, yeah.
And I
absolutely.
think Ozempic can definitely, or like drugs like that can help them as long as they make the lifestyle change.
Yeah.
You can't be eating a weight loss medication or a GLP-1. I mean, it's for diabetics. You can't be eating that and be eating burgers and fries all the time. So I think if you can go hand in hand, like, I think that's fine.
Yes.
There are some people that need help. But exactly where I think, like, for us, Foodhak sits really well. Those people should be subscribing to these meals.
Absolutely.
Making this lifestyle change, because, when you take the bad stuff out, good stuff in, we tend to be low-cal anyway. So when you get off those drugs, you will be fine.
And your taste buds change.
So
you don't crave
21
that
days.
rubbish. Yeah.
All I ask people to give me is 21 days.
Yeah.
I would just close my eye. Like my entire snack cabinet is filled with Foodhak now.
And even with the snacks, you probably don't feel the need to snack too much, right?
But
I wanted a lot of the ashwagandha. It was so delicious.
Absolutely.
But you probably know when to stop as well.
Yeah. I mean, portion control is the next thing. But I think for kids, for example, like today, Rayan has a coding class that finishes at 4:45. So you need to give him a snack.
Yeah.
It's so pleasurable to know that both his snack boxes, one has pop hacks, the makhanas, the lotus seeds that we have tossed in with superfoods. The other one has these crackers.
So good.
And my whole snack cabinet is full of Foodhak stuff. Habit formation. My kids are so used to seeing Foodhak stuff. They're friends, like so they go together every Friday for football.
Yeah.
And we carry snacks. The friends are like looking forward to the ashwagandha chocolate chip cookie. So if kids who are they are attracted to fancy packaging and colorful packaging and sugars, and they get addicted to sugars and all, if those guys can do it, we can too.
Definitely.
Right? But going back to that.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
Really incredible.
And going back to that point we made about creating these products. Tell us, what is it like for you? What were the shocks, like getting into manufacturing a product, batches, quality, sourcing, suppliers, batch codes, barcodes?
Oh, yeah, there's a lot. And I am, I will try every batch, obviously, because I want to make sure it's right. And we do get batches that are not, to me, when you're working with natural product, it can happen. Obviously, we work with the best manufacturer, but it can happen. It happened recently with our cleanser where I thought, I love this product. Something's not quite right, and I recalled it all and we did it again. It has to be done, because we live and die by our product. And natural is difficult because really it depends on the crop. So, a rose or any ingredient we use, including ashwagandha, may yield differently from one year to the next. So some customers will say, oh, it smells different, it feels different. Well, that's nature for you. And, you have to just you have to be good with that. I love it. I mean, we will not create something for the sake of creating something. So we only have limited SKUs per category because I don't have the time for a 12-step, skincare routine, for example, nor do I think we need it. My mum used almond oil on her skin all her life and her skin was incredible. That's all she did. And so I think that, we are spun a yarn when we think we need too many products. And I think what people want now is they don't want more. They want to escape from more. And so I hope the products give them that little bit of time it's pleasurable when they're using it. It's transformative afterwards. And it does them good. It does them good when it enters their body. It does them good on their skin. And it smells amazing. And that, the smell is such a strong receptor. It's so strong that it can completely change our mood. So everything has to smell really good. We don't use the same manufacturer for everything because someone who can make an incredible calm balm isn't necessarily the same person who can make a great hair oil. And so also it means that we are less vulnerable because, if any one of our manufacturers went out of business, that's my business gone if we put it all with one manufacturer. Now, in time, I hope we can have our own unit, but we're not at that stage yet. But, when we are, that would be great. But meantime, we have, brilliant inkies and everything is precise and there's an auditor doing things and it works fine. I'm very privileged to work with brilliant people, all of whom are in the UK. I work with an NGO in India because the problem with having product made in India, I found, is that unless you can keep an eye on it, the quality control somewhere down the line can suffer. When we first launched our one product, I tried making it in India. And when I got it, I could tell, I said, something's different in this second batch. And when I called the manufacturer, he said, okay, I'll be honest, we ran out of this ingredient, so I replaced it with another. I said, but you can't do that. Like, there's an inky. You can't just change the formula because you feel it's okay to do that. But he was doing it from a can-do attitude of, at least I'm not letting you down. You just can't do that. So now all our manufacturers are close enough for me to visit regularly, for us to chat, for us to talk about new product development. And we use the NGO. We put a Mauli into every product that you buy. And our NGO, there's women who don't have an income who can work from home filling these for us. Now, they're not going to become millionaires doing this, but it's something that gives them a sense of purpose. It's something that makes them feel they're doing something. We also make books made out of cotton that help. This is a factory in Jaipur that makes them all by hand. It helps them. These are my little love letters that make me feel good. They don't really make that much difference to the business. If I took this out tomorrow, I don't think my bottom line would really suffer, but I would suffer because it's missing that magic that I want to give it. It's my love letter. So
I think that's so lovely. And I think that's a little... But I think that it's a part of your brand identity.
It is.
So customers who open this box get a little surprise delight.
Yeah. But I didn't think of that when we did it. When we first did it, Bittu and I were doing it literally in our kitchen.
Right.
We were sitting there together. We might be watching Game of Thrones or whatever was big at that time. I can't remember. Doing this together. And I remember one day Bittu said to me, we really shouldn't have done this. We didn't think of how long it would take, to cut it to size, turn it, put it into an envelope. We didn't think about that.
Right.
And I just said, nope, we're going to do it till the end of time because this is my love letter to my customer. This means something to me. And it really wasn't about the bottom line. It was only when an investor later came, an investor approached us, a very big investor, saying, I want to invest in your brand. And I said, but why? Our turnover's nothing. Why do you want to? He said, because you've created something really special. You don't even know it. And I think that we've got to get that really perfect balance between following our heart and looking at the numbers. But we mustn't do one without the other. And I think we did that without even knowing it. We first followed our heart and then we tried to make the numbers work. And I'm happy with that way. We would have probably made more quicker. But I don't know if we would have had something that I'd be proud of. Because, when I look at metrics, it's not just about numbers. It's about how people feel about our product, how I feel. Above all else, how do I feel about our product? And I am so very proud of our product.
That's beautiful.
It matters.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, I really am.
What
so
do you...
proud.
But how do you convey this to your customers? So this comes to marketing and influencers. What are your views on these brands that celebrity founded brands overnight? They create a beauty brand and it's viral and the numbers are insanely amazing.
So if I were in their shoes, I would probably do the same because they have to think that maybe they can't act forever. And they have to use what they have and get the most out of it. So I don't blame them at all. I think that if they use a good formulator, one would hope that they have the money to use the best of the best. Then if the product is good, then I say, why not? Why not? I do think a lot of people are jumping on the bandwagon, but, the proof is that just like you've created something and I have, there is always room for more. And so the celebs might have more by throwing lots of money at it. I don't know how long that's sustainable. I don't know. I can't throw lots of money at it, so I have to really just work with good product intention, build it, and they will come. It might be slower, but, yes, I'll admit, sometimes it's frustrating that I don't have the budgets to do big investor marketing. I don't have it. I'd love to have it. I'd love that because I know our brand deserves it. I know that. I know we are over and above most everything that's out there. I haven't tried everything. I shouldn't say that, but I can confidently say I know how good it is. It can be frustrating, but I have to remind myself, who am I doing this for? What am I doing this for? I'm going to be dead one day. What am I doing this for? Am I doing it so I can sell a business for X amount? Am I doing it so I enjoy the ride and learn along the way? Am I doing it to impact how people feel? We find people buy our product and they say, I knew diddly squat about Ayurveda, but your brand has become a portal into my learning. So when I get to wherever we go to, and I do think the party's not here and I'm going somewhere really good, when I see Millie, I want her to say, Mum, you did good. That's what matters to me. You did good. Of course, I don't want to be broke when I see her. Of course. But there are so many metrics to success. And I think that, you know, you're being very honest. I'm being very honest. But I think even social media and the things we put out can be such a big, not lie.
Illusion.
An illusion. And I don't want to live that illusion. And if the celebrity's happy doing what they're doing, credit to them because they're bringing more energy, more money into the ether. Nothing wrong with that. Don't hoodwink people. But that's on their conscience and nothing to do with me. And there was a phase when I would, you know, my social team would say, Anita, look at what this brand's doing and this brand's doing. And for a little while I did. And then I thought, no, stop it. I'm going to go back to what we always did. I'm not going to suddenly change my strapline because she's doing that or he's doing that. What I have is good. And I'm going to live and die by it. And, you know, if it all stops tomorrow, I have learned so much. I've learned so much. I have grown immeasurably. I feel incredibly successful. So that's good.
That's amazing.
I do.
I think you're so right. I think having a superior product, first of all, as an investor, if I put my investor hat back on, I would always invest in businesses that had superior product or superior tech. Right. So I think building a D2C brand with a superior product, I think that is the number one most important thing because our customers are very sophisticated. With all this technology in our lives, we are spoiled for choices. Delivery can come in the next 15 minutes, 30. I mean, it from Amazon coming in a few days to Amazon Prime coming next day to
4 hours.
You know, 4 hours with Amazon, whatever Prime now, to, you know, get your Gorilla Zap in the next, 30 minutes, Deliveroo. So with all this technology and all these amazing products and services that the modern day consumer is surrounded by, a superior product is going to take you all the way. It's going to win over any of these overnight successes, which are suboptimal products. Because I sometimes I feel that it's hard to compete with someone like you or even me, like someone who's putting their hearts and souls, and the purpose of my soul is to build Foodhak. That's how I feel.
I see that.
Right? And I see that in you.
Yeah.
Because this is your baby. You see Millie in this.
I do.
Right?
I do.
And so, how can you compete with that energy and passion in these products compared to, an amazing influencer who sort of, who doesn't have that reason that we do? So sometimes I often kind of, when I think about marketing in the D2C world, because, I think product is the most important thing, but I do think marketing comes, because like someone has to hear your story.
Yes.
If a customer hears your story like I just did, you would convert them for life, like this.
Yes, maybe
and you would
and
you would have them coming back, by the way. You would have them for life, and then they would spread the word between their friends and family, and you would have them for life. This is the world we live in, right?
Yes.
Like with all this content that we're surrounded by.
People by people, I guess.
Yes. And stories.
And stories,
right? You have a very powerful story.
Yeah.
So how do you get this story across?
This has been the challenge. And like I say, we're talking about it, and I haven't openly talked about it hardly at all. Sometimes I've said, we lost someone very dear to us. I don't use Millie's name. You don't see it splashed across our site. Yet the other part of me is aware that if I don't have the budgets of the influencer, maybe I should be using my story, because ultimately I'm not doing anything wrong by doing that. It's my truth. I'm just, like I say, beginning to get comfortable with that. And I will do it, but I don't want to do it to the point that it's difficult. I want the product to shine, but I know that's kind of being a little bit naive, perhaps, because, there's so much noise out there, and I get that. I do, in my dream scenario, I do have the budgets to make more noise. That would be good, but there's more than one way to do that, and one has to just be clever. And I think one has to step away from the business for a while to get their head together and think with clarity, because when you're in it, that saying, you're working in it but not on it. It's so easy to do that and get caught up in the day-to-day and spend your day just answering emails and being reactive. I think it's really important to take a boot camp away from the business. And this podcast has made me realize I need to schedule it in my diary, that I take maybe 2 days away from the business every couple of months. It's not a lot, where all I'm doing is just quietly thinking and let things come to me. Which I haven't done, but I should. I'm going to do it now. I'm going to do it
Absolutely.
now.
Actually, a very well-respected investor and dear friend was talking on stage at this big tech event last year. And he said something that actually really struck a chord with me. Is that because, the question to him was like, what are the traits of the most successful founders? Yeah. Businesses that you like to back. And they're like the best investors in the world. And he was like, actually one of the traits that I find common and I think is extremely critical in the most successful founders are those who are out and about telling their story. As a founder, your job is to show the world your story, take them through it through your eyes, not through their eyes. Yeah. The glitter you have, the passion you have, the energy you have, you need to show that off. Go sell that story, whether it's for deals, whether it's for partnerships, whether it's for investments, whether it's for hiring employees. Yes. At startups, we can't pay a lot.
No.
We can't offer pay rises every year. We can't match big companies. We have equity that we can offer, and we have passions and missions that we can get them behind. Yeah. Right? And so use that.
No, you're absolutely
right. So as a founder CEO, now I've become very comfortable, but in the first year because we have our own little production house at Foodhak. And actually we should talk about that.
We should.
The pros and cons of outsourcing manufacturing versus having it in-house and keeping that control over quality. Yes. I'm as obsessed about my product as you are because I also look at it like it's my third baby. Yeah. One that's needed most of my attention compared to all my 3 kids.
How do the 2 boys feel about that?
They are so proud.
Oh, I saw that actually when we were at Bodyism. They were beaming.
They are so proud. They understand, nutrition and the impact it has on the body. You watched that film King Richard?
Yes.
On Serena Williams' father.
Yes. Oh my God.
And what an amazing film. One of my favorites.
I just watched it again the other day.
I actually met her recently at a conference and I told her, I'm a big fan of yours, but I'm a bigger fan of your dad's. Because I saw that movie and
his conviction.
No, but he said champions are not born, they are built.
Yes.
And every opportunity he got with their kids, he was imparting his wisdom. Yeah. His was very sort of sports driven and I want to build these champions or whatever, but it was also very life driven. Yeah. The little nuggets he was passing on to the kids. And so for me, I feel like I want to live like that, where every opportunity I get to interact with my kids when they're looking me in the eye, I know I have them. I want to say something that matters.
Wow.
And with osmosis,
yes,
you never know. There might be somewhere in because you have a conscious brain.
Yes.
Which is the distracted brain.
Yes, yes.
Right? Which is like, I want the shiny object. I want the colorful packaging. I want the sugary thing. I want to be distracted. I want to run around. But you also have an unconscious brain. Yeah. Right? And they both are absorbing things. Yeah. So for me, like when they look at Foodhak and when we talk about nutrition, we talk about life, being a good person, working hard, giving it your best shot, creating the best product you can. Somewhere these things are getting absorbed.
Definitely.
In my kids' minds. So I think that they feel very proud, and I think I'm setting a good example
100%.
Where, in the future, women don't only just belong in the kitchens or households, or they're not just baby makers. No. They can be more. You know, they can be that, because there are some women that gives them a lot of happiness.
Yes.
To be the best wife, the
Yes.
best mother, right? But there are some women who have bigger dreams, you know, and actually to be the best wife, the best mother, they must accomplish this. Otherwise, they cannot give that happiness and joy.
Yeah, I agree.
They
yeah.
can, like for me, I
Yeah.
feel that.
Yes.
I feel that, you know, I'm just so happy to see my kids in the morning and in the evening and spend quality time with them on the weekends. And, you know, and I feel that if I didn't have my work,
Yeah.
I don't think I would be this version of myself with them. So you do you. But
I've seen you're very present with them.
Yeah.
When you're with them, you're completely with them.
I'm completely
Yeah.
with them. And for me, that is more important than quantity of time.
Yeah, you're right.
Right?
Yeah.
And again, like
Absolutely.
you have to be very in tune with your energies. Like I was going to say to you that you're such an energy person, and you're worried that, you know, will your story come across? Will it feel wrong? Just feel it. You do
Yeah.
you.
No, absolutely.
Right?
I'm beginning to see it.
Yeah. And also remember, right?
Yeah.
Like for me, I came to this realization because I do this a lot, right?
Yes.
Remember that there are other people out there who may have lost a loved one
Yes.
to this dreadful disease.
Yes.
Because it's actually, it's luck, it's your destiny, it's your karma,
Yeah.
is what I believe.
And it's what you do with your karma, isn't it?
Absolutely.
And we can't change the things that will happen, but we can change how we react to them.
Absolutely.
And this journey, I believe, on some level, I chose it. I do believe that. I think that we souls come here to play. And, you know, if we were only a soul without this body, we would be bored because there's no way to express ourselves. So maybe on some level, I said, I want to express myself by feeling what pain feels like and feeling what building something feels like and feeling what supporting people feels like, feeling what, before all of that, ego feels like, and being sort of frightened feels like. All of these are expressions that I wanted to experience, and it's no bad thing. I think the biggest lesson I got out of it, and, you know, if I didn't get that, then God, what a shame. The biggest lesson I got out of it is our happiness, as you were saying, you wouldn't be fulfilled, can only come from us. It can't come from anything else. Not our business. It all adds to the shine, but it has to be, am I being true to me? And that goes back to Ayurveda, because it teaches us what really is right for our mind body type, not somebody else's, not someone I've seen on social who's having a jolly nice time, you know, eating an ice cream somewhere, looking lovely. That's not my happiness. If I really sat and examined it, that's not my happiness. It's just I'm looking at this person and thinking that could be because she looks happy. So Ayurveda teaches you what is right for your mind body type and to follow that. And whenever you go off course, to course correct, to know what to do to course correct. And it's really powerful. It's really powerful. And that is the privilege of the business, like yours has been food. Mine too has been food, because I was a very, you know, as a part of it, because food is such a big part of Ayurveda, I was a very emotional eater. I would eat not because I was hungry, but because, again, it was a way of denying my feelings. So, you know, to push it down. And I've become very aware now, like when I have your lovely ashwagandha cookies, I really enjoy them. And I do have to consciously say, that was good. Now you can put it down. Because it's very easy to eat more of those than you need because they are so delicious. You wouldn't believe that they're so good for you. So I have to consciously say, no, enough now. Do you really need more? Or is this more just because you're being greedy? Because, you know, you can be greedy for food. And then put it away. And Ayurveda has taught me that. The business has taught me that. But you're absolutely right. This is what I need to be doing, because it's, in a way, is my superpower is to speak from my heart. That's my superpower. There is somebody else who could run my business. That's not, but you can't replicate what I bring to it. And I think that's, for both of us, something we could share with other founders, is that you've got to do the part that only you, it's your magic sauce, not someone else's. And that's what brings it the authenticity and the integrity. And then you find the best people you can afford to do the other part. And actually, I'm doing that now. I'm looking for a partner, because Bitu's not involved in the business. So I'm looking for a partner who is really so inspired by the numbers and focused that that's what they live for. Because it's not what I live for. Of course I have an eye on them. Of course I do. But it's not the part that I want to be fully consumed in, because I know there are other people who can do it. So that's what I'm looking for, my yin to my yang, then I think then we can really go for it.
Yeah.
And it's never too late.
No.
It's never too late.
I think it is so inspirational. I think if you share your stories with more candidates, I think it's so inspirational. It would be so much easier to go through this tragedy that you did, to losing a loved one, and just to say to yourself, why me? Why me? And this,
I never once thought that.
Yeah.
Not once.
But it would be so much easier to do that. Like, why me?
Yeah.
God,
Never thought that.
And-
Ritu and I always said, why not? Like, what makes us exempt from pain? Like, why not? Like, why shouldn't it happen to us? What, do I get a badge saying, no, you're exempt? No. It's nothing bad happened. My life happened. That's the realization, is that my life happened. Like, today we're doing this. This is my life. Tomorrow something else. Well, it's all just my life.
But I think what is amazing is that you took that trauma and you turned it into something so positive.
Because of Mauli.
These
because
products.
Of Ayurveda.
You've brought Ayurveda to the Western world in the form of these amazing products, all natural, healing people's skin, body. Skin is, very, very important. Our largest organ.
Yeah.
Right? Hair, nails, all of that. I think it's such an inspirational story. How do you turn trauma into something positive for the world, for the people, but also a positive business?
Yes, exactly.
So I think that's really, really incredible. And I think you need to you need to just stop for like 5 minutes and just take it in and be proud. Proud of yourself. And
I've got to get better at that part.
And share your story, because other people may not find it as easy. To turn trauma into something positive. So I think you should be out and about, sharing that story.
And that's another epiphany that I have, is that what I don't want to do is become one of these women who said, look, I can do it, therefore you can do it, because everybody's pain is so personal.
It's so different,
Someone could feel more pain having broken, I don't know, a vase than I have about losing a child, because you don't know where that pain started.
But actually, I would say...
what I mean? I don't want them to feel that, God, now I feel even worse, because if she can cope with that, why can't I cope with this?
I have an answer for you.
Yeah, tell me.
I think it's self-work.
Yes.
I think you've done a lot of self-work.
I
knowingly, unknowingly, consciously, unconsciously.
Yeah, both.
And actually, I do think every founder needs to invest in self-work.
100%.
Because you live a very highly pressured life as a founder.
Yes.
You have people's payrolls dependent on you.
Yep.
You have every small, medium, large, extra large decision dependent on you.
Yeah.
You have a personal life. You may be married. You may have kids. You may not. You may be looking for love. There's a lot going on.
Yeah.
There's a lot of pressure. And I think you started the podcast by saying energies. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
If you are filled and that pressure converts into negative energy.
It does.
You have to find a way. And by the way, your employees, their challenges are downloaded on you. So your job is to take the negativity and turn it into positivity.
Yeah.
That is the job of a founder and CEO. And you can do that, but just like any machine, a machine needs to be oiled. It needs to be repaired.
Yes.
You need to do self-work, right? To be able to push to a higher and higher and higher level of productivity, of positivity yourself. So tell us, what do you do for that?
It sounds really boring, but I definitely have to meditate, 100%. I have to, because the phone is so addictive. And if you're a creative person, I can spend so long on Instagram because I love the creativity side, interiors accounts and design accounts and people dancing. I love to watch people dancing, and I could get stuck in it. So I have to consciously step away and meditate first thing, then read something that lifts my soul. I have the same sort of books on rotation that I've had for years, and each time I read them, I get something new from them. It's like I'm reading them for the first time. A few of my favorites are Seat of the Soul by Gary Zukav. It tells you why the soul comes into this personality. It's an incredible book. Untethered Soul is another one. Bhagavad Gita is another one. Upanishads is another one. So I have these on rotation, these books. I'll just read 10 minutes. I don't get that much time in the morning. So wake up, get my lemon water, do my meditation, read a little passage, then do 20 minutes yoga on YouTube, then go for a lovely walk. Because if I don't do that in the morning, then probably by evening I'm tired and I won't do it. And now I've just started to go to the gym with my son because he's at that age where it's all protein, big muscles, and oh my God, 5 meals a day. It's crazy. But now I'm going with him, and that's a lot of fun and a way to connect as well. And that's in the evening, but not every evening, just like a couple of times a week. And Pilates, I love to do Pilates. And my non-negotiables, those are my non-negotiables. Actually, they're not non-negotiables. I know I don't feel as good when I don't do them.
It's your process.
It's
and
my
you have to
process.
respect your process.
Yeah, it's my process. And then the other process is, I never used to do this, but now is not to send emails straight away, because I can be quite reactive, because again, that is not wanting to deal with the pain. Sometimes you can quickly react to an email because you just want to get that feeling over with. So now it's to write it, let it sit in your drafts, and then send it later.
I like that.
Not to send it straight away, because it can come from the wrong energy. And other processes are just to be around people I love, really, and that love and honor me. I spent time with people that didn't love and honor me, and it was depleting. And now I just have fewer people in my life, but they're people I just adore, and they adore me, and it fills my cup.
Honestly, that, now you have clinical research.
Yes.
Proving the power of energy.
Yeah.
You mentioned
Totally.
food. They ended up I don't know if I mentioned this before on this podcast, but my mind was blown. They were shouting at water, and they were talking nicely to water, froze it, took out the ice cubes. One was black.
Unbelievable.
And the other one was clear crystals.
Unbelievable.
Right? So now the power of energy is getting validated in clinical research. So I think you're absolutely right. Actually, talking about energies, you mentioned something in the middle of the podcast.
Yeah.
Ayurveda, and it helps you balance the energies.
Definitely.
And you have a type
Yes.
that you're disbalanced on, your doshas. Tell us a little bit more about that.
You have this lovely energy. I would say you're Pitta Kapha. So Pitta people are very sharp, very focused. I could give you a spreadsheet and you'll immediately be able to look at it and say, that's where we're falling. That's where things are not working, and that's what we need to do more of. Very good at managing people. People would look up to you for that because you're very clear. So you are the energy of fire and water. That's Pitta. And so if we use metaphors, we would say sharp, clear, fluid, we would use penetrating. We would use these words, and Ayurveda is all about metaphors and energies. So when I look at this desk, I would say it's smooth. This is the energy of the desk. And when I would look at your skin, I would say it's smooth, because you have Pitta and you have Kapha, this lovely earth energy. So earth energy is the woman who brings everyone together. She's very all-embracing. She's very kind. She's compassionate. She's nurturing, Mother Earth. So when we think of earth quality, it's the glue that binds people together. So you can put that quality into everything you do, and into the way your skin is. Your skin is really lovely and healthy. Your lips are big. This is earth, voluptuous, full, abundant. These are your energies. And what we do in Ayurveda is we say we work, you look at your energies, and then if they're out of balance, you do the opposite. So my energy is more Vata energy, which is air. Everything begins with air, because things can't move in the body without air, right? And when signals are sent, it's because of the nervous system sends signals. That's air. Air allows it to do that. So my energy is, if you think of the metaphor of air, I can be very flighty. I can be very changeable. I may be very calm today. I may be a bit hyper tomorrow, maybe even this afternoon. That's my energy. I like change. Vata people, if you look in your team, they're the people who like change. If you give them the same project long term, they'll be bored rigid. You won't get the best out of them. So somebody in social media would be very good if they had that Vata energy. They would be less good at doing accounts. They just don't have the patience for it. So dynamic, creative. Steve Jobs would have been Vata. Very creative visionaries. Kapha, Pitta people are the leaders, like Obama would be Pitta. And then Kapha people are the Oprah would be Kapha. You know, that all-embracing woman, incredible energy. So if you're out of balance, look at what your energies are, like Vata people, air, dry. So my hair becomes very dry. My skin becomes dry. So what do I need to do to combat that? I need to eat food hacks, more oily foods, not dry foods. If I'm kapha, there's a tendency to put on weight and be more heavy if there's too much kapha. So I must avoid red meat because it takes a lot longer to digest red meat than it does white meat. So I must go for light foods rather than heavier foods. Whereas me, Vata, I must go for more heavier foods to ground me because I'm already... So if I ate crackers, for example, they would be less good for me than the ashwagandha snack, which is more moist.
Yeah.
And without even knowing Ayurveda, the way to know that is just by how you feel when you eat something.
Yeah.
How does that dry food feel in my body compared to the ashwagandha snack? How does something feel in my mind when I do something? How does it feel in my, my heart? It's all there for us. We just have to slow down a bit to hear it. And that's challenging with social media, but put the phone away and just check in. How do I feel? How is my skin? Look at my tongue. The tongue will tell you everything. The tongue will tell you everything about your imbalances. It's an organ you can see. So look at it in the morning and see if it has ridges on it. You have a very chronic problem with your stomach. You have a very chronic digestive problem if you have ridges on your tongue.
Interesting.
And, if it's yellow, it tells you something. Obviously, we tongue clean. It's a given because we don't want that sitting there. But, your eyes tell you, your nails tell you. A really good Ayurvedic doctor could take your pulse.
Yeah.
Actually, could take your boys' pulses and tell them what's wrong with you. That's how incredible they are.
Wow.
That's how incredible this science is. And we've needed modern science to validate it, but we've known it all along.
Yes.
Generations have known it all along.
Yes.
Literally, they can take your child's pulse and say, this is when your mother had an operation. This is what it was for. This is how she's feeling now. They wouldn't even, this is how connected we all are.
That's so interesting.
It's incredible.
See, I feel like it's Ayurveda is it just keeps giving. Like I keep learning more and more about it.
Yeah.
The more I get into it, which
Absolutely.
It's so interesting.
My father-in-law, until the day he died, he was an incredible Ayurvedic doctor, incredible. Until the day he died, he would phone me and say, Anita, I've just learned something new. And he was like a twinkling baby. He had skin like a baby. And when he learned something, he would say, wonderful. Look what I learned today. And I want to be like that. I want to be learning till the day I die.
Yeah.
Never stops because we carry it on, don't we?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, I think Ayurveda is just incredible. And you're doing that with your food and, I'm doing it with product. But we both have the same intention at the end, which is to empower people to connect to their true nature.
Absolutely.
That's it.
Actually, talking about Ayurveda, we do a really fun element where we like to share. So, I'm not sure if we talked about this, but we're building this, we're cleaning up clinical research on food because it's so biased.
You mentioned,
And so we have an AI app, Foodhak,
Amazing.
on the UK app stores. By the way, you should download.
I will.
And so we like to pull out a little food as medicine nugget and go into the detail of it. It could be a day-to-day ingredient you add in your meals without thinking much. But I feel like when we share these details, next time you're using, let's say today we're going to talk about black pepper.
Yes.
You'll remember that, actually, it has this and this and this benefits.
Yes.
So we feel that, it'll help people to, use it mindfully.
I love that you said use it mindfully because, my one tip with Ayurveda and food would be when it comes to ingredients, in India we have thalis because we want just the right amount of bitter, astringent, sour, sweet. That's why we eat from a thali and we have a little bit of yogurt and a little bit of, mango chutney and a little sweet because we have to have all those tastes, but in their right quantities. And it's quantities where we sometimes go wrong because, in the West, we will hear that something is good for you and then we will have it infinitum. And then the body becomes immune to it. So, my father-in-law would always say, have ginger, but don't have it every single day forever. When that reason that you're having it, maybe a cold or, your immune system is low, you're having it for that. Once you feel better, stop having it. Give your body a rest from that. And the same would apply to, to any ingredient. Because otherwise your body just doesn't, it's like when you do the same exercise every day.
Exactly. I was just thinking that.
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
So all food is medicine, natural food, when taken in the right quantity for the right
At the
period,
right time.
At the right time.
Absolutely. Yeah. So actually, let's talk about black pepper today.
Yeah.
Something that, you sprinkle in everything.
Yeah.
use it all the time. Some people like it.
Yes.
But actually, like, for example, kids don't necessarily love it. But
Yeah.
here are the reasons why you should include it. So what our
Great.
engine found, we got 13 different good clinical papers that came up on black pepper. And what we found was, one, it's used a lot in Ayurveda.
Yes.
Let's find out why.
Yeah.
So it actually helps with a whole host of things. Number one, oxidative stress. Now, not many people understand oxidative stress. It's basically the stress on our cells. Our cells create protein. Protein is hair, skin, everything, aging,
Yeah.
wrinkles, right? So this helps relieve the oxidative stress on the cells, right? Because you don't want your cells to be constantly stressed, because that's what causes inflammation. That's what causes wrinkles, so it helps with that.
Amazing.
It helps with urological problems.
Yeah. I didn't know that.
Of course. Like, there's so many things we don't know.
I didn't know that.
Breast cancers.
Really?
Yeah, they found links. Skin ailments. I'm sure you guys use black
We
pepper.
do. We
Yeah,
do.
there you
Yeah.
go.
We use it in about 5 of our products.
See?
Yeah. Yeah.
And here's, validation
Gosh.
in clinical studies for it. Stomach and liver issues, UTIs, sore throat, parasitic infections. So we should all start adding a little pinch of black pepper
Yes.
in our kids' foods.
Yes.
Slowly get them accustomed to it, because it has these benefits.
Yes. Yes. And in your morning water, if you have a morning drink of ginger, black pepper, teeny bit of honey and lemon, firstly, it's delicious, and secondly, it's really good for you.
I love that.
Small amount. It's
Yeah.
really good for you. And because of the honey, the children won't mind it.
Yeah.
But you can't have the honey at boiling temperature, because then it's poisonous. Again, it's how you use food.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly.
and you know that. This is so interesting. So you have an app for this.
We have an app for this. So play. I
Amazing.
think your father-in-law would be so proud.
He would be so proud.
And he would be using it.
Do you know, he would be so proud. And he always used to say to me, because of course when we launched, he was still alive. He would say, Anita, I am proud of the work you're doing. Please keep doing it. Because he really could see the validity of why we were doing it.
Yeah.
I think he could see that even more than I could.
Of course.
And he said, never stop, And every
That's
time
amazing.
every time he would see me, he would say, so how is business going?
Oh,
Really proud.
that's
He was the
amazing.
first editor of an Indian newspaper in the UK.
Oh, wow. That's
It was-
so cool.
It was like The Week. You remember
Right.
Well, you know The Week.
Yeah.
Because when immigrants came over in the 50s, they couldn't speak English. And the only way to hear what was going on back home was telexes. So he created a weekly newspaper that was all in Hindi, because he felt duty bound to give to his community.
You are a great storyteller.
But it's true.
Yeah, I know all of these
Yeah.
are true, but you're a great storyteller.
Yeah.
I really hope after this podcast
I'm gonna
you're
do
going to be
that.
doing more storytelling.
I'm gonna do
because
that.
we discussed this in our first episode that an integral part of brand building is, or even business building, is storytelling.
You find me the right partner then, and then I
Done.
can do it.
We have a
Done.
deal.
We have a deal.
We have to spend. we have
have
to
a
do
deal.
our walk together.
We have to do that.
But listen, thank you so much for
Thank you
coming.
so
And thank you
much.
so much for using this as one of the first platforms to
100%.
share such an
Trust
amazing
you.
story.
Yeah, I
Like-
trust you. I think your podcast has such integrity. It's incredible.
And I'm sure there'll be a lot of people out there listening to this, relating to it, feeling encouraged by this story. This is exactly what we're trying to do with this community. So thank you again
Thank you.
for being so open about this amazing personal journey that you've had. You've turned a negative hand you were dealt into something so positive. Honestly, I feel so inspired. Thank you for listening to Hack It. I hope you enjoyed the insights and stories that we shared today. Are you hungry for more? Follow us on Instagram at The Food Hack. That's a hack without a C. Or subscribe now to be the first to hear about our next episode when it drops. See you next time.